Hey, this is Ronald from Math Skills University, and today I'm going to show you how Davinci Resolve 20 can be as easy to use for basic video editing as Filmora 14 or CapCut. I am lumping Filmora together with CapCut because they have similar interfaces and they operate pretty much the same. Now, they have different filters and effects and AI components, and that's why people like them because of their ease of use. But basically, the functionality is very similar. I'm going to show you how easy DaVinci Resolve can be and how you can emulate the editing in Filmora and CapCut and make DaVinci Resolve that much easier to use. Without further ado, let me show you how easy DaVinci can be for you. As you can see, Filmora starts with a very user-friendly interface. Just start dropping files in and start editing. Whereas DaVinci Resolve, not so much. You start with this. So you start a project, give it a name, and get started. Once you're there, you still don't go into a simple user interface. What you want to do then is go over here to the edit module or page. Now this puts you almost on par with Filmora, but you still don't have this simplicity up here. To get that, you go over here to media. If you see this elongated window, click on this up here. And that's it. Now we're set to start editing, looking just like Filmora and CapCut. So let's start creating our Marvel trailer in DaVinci Resolve and in Filmora. And again, Filmora operates just like CapCut. Let's get started. On the top, we have Filmora 14, and on the bottom, we have DaVinci Resolve 20. But we're only using things from the free version. With that said, on top, we have the Media panel, the Player panel, and the Properties panel. Filmora calls their timeline the Timeline panel. Down here in DaVinci Resolve, we have the Media pool, the Player, and we have the Inspector. And of course, the timeline is a timeline. Let's drag some assets in to both of these. Drag all our files over. You have Filmora right here, DaVinci Resolve right there. We'll do everything in Filmora first. Now we can just drag all these down, put them all into view, go back to the beginning, back to DaVinci. It really doesn't matter what order you bring these down. Let's jump back to Filmora. I'm going to go back and forth so you can see a real comparison. Bring this in, press Alt or Option to make another copy of those. In my trailer, I do it a little bit differently to mix these up. Back to DaVinci, do the same thing over here and DaVinci Resolve. Jump back to Filmora, hold down Control or Command and press A as an apple. That selects everything. Go up to Duration and change this to 3. Now bring all these together, back to DaVinci. Let's do that in DaVinci Resolve. Right click on any photo, go up here to change clip duration or press Control or Command D as in David. Click anywhere and just paste what we had over there and click change. Bring all these together. At this point, we can just export or bounce both of these. We can do a quick export up here. I like deliver. Let's jump back to Filmora. We can export this right here. Bring up a new project. Bring in bounce 1. Make copies of this. We'll make 4. I do this a little bit differently in my trailer in DaVinci Resolve 20. Let's see how fast that is. So we know that's molasses slow. Go over here and make that a 10. Get really faster. We'll make this a 20. We'll make this a 30. And we'll make this 50. Let's go over here to DaVinci Resolve and get this one ready. Press Control or Command N as in Nancy. Let's create another timeline. Call this whatever you want. Then bring in your bounced video clip. Make sure these are not connected or linked. Now we're going to press Alt or Option and scroll down, just the opposite of Filmora. And let's make copies the same way as Filmora. Alt or Option and make some copies. That's what we have. Now we need to make these a lot faster. We can do it a couple ways. I can right click on this. I can change the speed right here. Or I can press Control or Command plus R as in red and do a quick speed change here. And go down here and go up to 800. Bring these together. Right click on this one, go up to speed change. And make this one 2000. Let's go ahead and finish these off. Jump back to Filmora. I can bring in my sound. I know this starts off too slow, so I'll bring it in about right there. And we'll cut this too. Bring that back to the beginning. Back to Davinci. We should be good over there. In this case, we still have our files. We're in the same project. So everything's the same. All right, that's what we have. Then to get back to home here, I'll just press the home key. Let's jump back to Filmora. Click on this. I'm back home. To go full screen, hold Alt or Option, press Enter. Press Spacebar. Let's see what we have. Let's go over to Davinci Resolve and see what we have there. Press Control or Command plus F as in Frank. At this point in any editor, we would start popping in titles, transitions, effects, and things like that. What's great about Filmora and CapCut is that you can very easily drop in text, transitions, and effects like camera shake. And CapCut is just like Filmora. You can easily pop down titles, transitions, and effects such as camera shakes in seconds. Now we're back over here in Davinci Resolve 20, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to use. Just go up here to Effects, and everything you need is under Effects. First, we brought in a title. We have tons of titles to bring in. Let's bring in a multi-text title. Pop it down like we do in any other editor. But in this case, I can have as many individual text boxes within one master box as I like. And we have all these options to change. I'll get to that later. Then we brought in a video transition, and we can see what that transition does, and we have tons of them. And I'll show you all these later. Let's just grab one and pop it down. It works the exact same way as Filmora or CapCut, except there's a difference here. We just don't have 3 options. We have tons of options. And I can easily switch the transition and have even more options. And let's see what that looks like. The last thing we did was brought in an effect. Over here in Davinci Resolve, I can go to Open Effects, and we have a lot of different effects. But I'm going to scroll down to Camera Shake. Look at my option. We can do anything we want with this effect. So that looks like that. If I click on the clip, I can see what effect I have. But here's what's also cool. I can go up here to transition and say, you know what, I don't want that to be an effect. I want it to be a transition. So I can go up here and type in anything I want. I'll say shake. Here's a fusion transition. I can pop that down just like a transition. So if I click on that, now that's a transition. Motion blur. I can have that camera shake as an effect or a transition. I can also pop it down. Let's take this clip for example. On both ends. In effect, I can shake in and shake out. Everything you see on the menu in Filmora, as well as everything you see on the menu in CapCut, are all under one button in Davinci Resolve 20, and it's called Effects. And most of it's free in the free version. Okay, if I go to Video Transitions on top, I have all these transitions. Anything you can think of, you have it right here. And most of these transitions are free. If I want to have a transition between audio clips, these work really well. If I go to titles, look at all my titles. Animated titles, like anything you're looking for, most of this stuff is free in Davinci Resolve. If I go to generators, you can generate different colors, different kind of patterns, and it drags things in from Fusion, the color page, and Fairlight. If I go to effects, of course we have your standard adjustment clips that we can just bring down. I'll pop it on top of that. But we also have different types of effects we can use. but the detail amazes me. I'll just take a simple text box here and look at all the settings you have. I mean, of course, you can change the size and all that stuff, but you have all these settings. Then you come down here, you have more settings, and then here, even more. But you can just keep it simple. If I go over here to settings, this is our normal view, all the options they give you, and just look at all this stuff too. Layout, more options. The more advanced you get, the more advanced it gets. And this applies to literally everything here. If I go over here, I can drop down this comic book effect that I use in my Davinci Resolve 20 trailer. You have these options, but I can also change these colors. It's yellow. I can change that to a different color. So that's really cool. They give you so many options. Just get to know the stuff up here. Then if I go to audio effects, this comes from Fairlight, but I can do denoising, I can do echoing changes. And the cool thing is that we can do all this in the edit page. We don't have to learn advanced fusion or colorization, all this other stuff. All the options are right here. If I'm looking for something, just go up here to the search bar and just search for what I'm looking for. We can change that any way we want. If I want to do a voiceover, I'll just click on this button right here. And I have it set for a countdown, but I can change that. I can change the name of it, the microphone there, audio, setup, and the voiceover starts about right now. As you can see, this is being recorded. I'll stop that. There's my voiceover. Starts about right now. Keyframing also works the exact same way. So we can take that from here, take it down to 0, slide this down, and bring it up. And take it back. The cool thing though is that I can come up here and click on here, and here's my keyframing. But more importantly, and this is new in 20, I can go up here and click on this, and now I have this. But I can jump over here, click on this, grab that, click on that, yep. And now we have all this going on. So you can smooth it out, make it as smooth as you want to make it. But the detail is just amazing. And what's also cool is that I can speed ramp very easily, but I have way more control over how I speed ramp. I can go simple or I can go more complex. Here's what I mean by that. Let's speed ramp this clip. To start this, I'll press Controller Command plus R as in red. Now instead of clicking on this and going down and change speed, take it down to where I want to start my ramp. Click on 100%, add speed point, and do that as many times as you want. What I can do now is just bring this in to make that faster, or stretch it out that way. And that's going to slow this video clip down. And that's the easy way to do it. And you can do that all along your timeline, speed things up and slow them down. But then what I'll do is if I want to do this more accurately, I'll go back to my keyframes and I'll see what's being affected here. I'll make sure those are highlighted and I'll go over here. And now I can really microscopically go over here and make these changes. Click on that. Then I'll have my little Bezier tool and I can smooth things out. Click on that. Anything I do here is going to affect my timeline. So I can make those changes here. And I have options up here as well. So you can get as detailed as you want to get with this or just keep it simple. And lastly, the inspector over here is really just like the properties panels in Filmora and CapCut. Transform, cropping, I can do dynamic zooms over here, stabilization, things like that, just normal things that you have in video editors. On the audio side, I can change the audio, change the speed, things like that. I can normalize audio levels from right here. You can fade in and fade out volume as well as video. Over here, I can turn this on or off and do some quick transformations, cropping, and dynamic zooming from right here as well. And by dynamic zoom means I can do a crop and zoom. So of course you're going to start on the green and end on the red. This works the exact same way. This is so simple to use if you just stay in the edit mode. What I like about DaVinci Resolve 20 is that you really can just stay in the edit mode and get everything you need done from there. If you want to ramp it up to an Adobe or Final Cut level of editing, you can. If you want to exchange projects between those programs, you can. You can learn Fusion or the other stuff later. Just stay in the edit mode. And if you like the program, spending $300 for the studio version is way more than worth it because the AI is outstanding. With that said, if you have any comments, suggestions, or ideas, please leave them below. And if you like this content, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'm wishing you and yours the very best in 2025. Peace.